Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds, and welcome to this week's edition of the Multiverse Report. With you, as always, Steve Heller. With me, not the usual host of this podcast, Michael Gibson. He's got the night off for some prior commitments, but since this is the week of D23, we brought in our resident Disney expert, Matt Biesiada, for the out of the bullpen to pinch hit on this one. We're coming to you live from Anaheim, California to Lake Buena Vista, Florida, and everywhere in between today. So how we doing, Matt?
I love the quick thinking on the Anaheim to Lake Buena Vista. It was very creative. I am excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about all things movies, TVs, and parks. D23 was a massive success this weekend. If online chatter is what they were looking for, because I haven't seen the online community this happy in years, and that's saying something, because anyway, but I'm excited to talk to you guys, excited to be back. I love your shirt, Sword in the Stone shirt.
It's my favorite classic Disney movie, so
I love it. It's great.
Oh yeah. No, and for anyone who doesn't know, D23 is Disney's annual, I guess, their own Comic-Con type thing.
Yeah. Biannual. They do a much smaller version every other year, and then this year it was at both the Anaheim Convention Center, and they sold out the Honda Center, which is where the Ducks play.
Yep.
And it was massive. It was, but we'll get into that. It was, and it, there's different panels. There's panels about movies and TV shows. There's panels about parks and experiences. There's the Disney Legends ceremony, which off the top of my head, it's actually going on right now. It's going to be on Disney Plus tomorrow, but Harrison Ford, John Williams, James Cameron, Miley Cyrus.
Not Billy Ray Cyrus.
No, not Billy Ray Cyrus. However, just because you said that, I have to bring this up. So I'm working at the Emporium in 2002, and it was middle of the summer. It started raining, and this guy walks in, and he's got his daughter. He's holding his daughter's hand, and he asked me for something, maybe Christmas ornaments. And I said, "Oh, it's this way." Blah, blah. And this guy Don comes behind me, goes, "Whoa, you know who you just talked to?" I go, "No." He goes, "That was Billy Ray Cyrus." and I go, "No way." But I remember that he had a little girl with him, which I assume was his daughter, Miley Cyrus. So this was 2002. She was about 10. It works out. The math works out. So
crazy.
Yeah, I knew her when.
So wait, did you find him? Did you find him his ornaments?
I did. Yes.
Okay, so you didn't break his heart, his achy breaky heart.
No, I did not. But love what you did there. That was great.
So yeah, today what we're gonna do, I want to talk about, because anyone who has listened to the pod knows Matt. He is a huge Star Wars fan with us as well. They did drop the trailer finally for Skeleton Crew, which we'll get into in a bit, but seems like a very interesting show. Not what I don't think it's what anybody expected, but I'm kind of like excited for it now.
Definitely kid-based, in adventure.
You know what it felt like to me, and we might as well just get into it. It felt very Stranger Things, like kid-based, but not a kid show.
Sure. The term I kept hearing passed around online was it was very Amblin.
Yeah. Yep.
It was very
Goonies and that was the first thing that that vein.
And you can definitely feel that.
It's the ET scene on the speeder bikes instead of the
Yep.
bikes, and yeah, like there's a lot of that 80s feel to it.
Yeah, there's actually I had to go back and watch it when I saw this. For any parks fans out there, Disney Parks fans, there was a very famous attraction called Captain EO, which was produced by George Lucas. It was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and it starred Michael Jackson. And it was Michael Jackson with a bunch of animatronic and Muppet characters. And one of those characters, Hooter, was in the trailer.
Is that the robotic owl thing?
No, it's like this. It's like this. I'll send a picture, but it's like a like a purple dragon almost, purple dinosaur dragon, not Barney,
Okay.
but
Like not Figment.
but yeah,
like,
and it was just for a second, but Disney confirmed it, and
that's kind of
I
awesome.
think
A nice little nod.
yeah, and from what I understand is there is going to be a lot of nods to different pop culture, space, Star Wars,
From that era type thing.
yeah.
Get some Last Starfighter in there and some yeah,
Exactly,
that'll be great.
exactly. Yeah.
So Michael Jackson exists in a galaxy far, far away now.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, in general, like, did this move you at all? Did this like make your excitement rise for the show, or because we knew
Yes.
nothing up until this? Really, it's been a mystery.
We knew nothing. It was similar to the Acolyte, in that we knew nothing really going in. We knew the time period.
Yep.
And we know the time period for this because it's said to be around the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, 3 to 5 years post Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I definitely agree with you when you said it reminds you of Stranger Things. It's stars kids, but may not be kid based.
Well, yeah, because I was going into it like I saw the start of the trailer and I'm like, oh, it's something I can watch with. I'm not watching this with my son.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm excited for it, but I get excited for anything
Right.
Star Wars. I think it's great that they're playing with something new, but also in a time period that we know. Not that we know, that is familiar to the audience in recent memory. The Mando universe. Could we see some crossover there? Could we see this lead into the Filoniverse film? Right. It'll be very interesting to see. I thought.
Well, because that means Jude Law's character survived Order 66 and is just out there.
It's interesting. I mean this in a funny way, but it's interesting. Since Disney bought Lucasfilm, how many people survived Order 66?
Yeah, the Emperor really wasn't that good at what he was doing.
Right? Yeah.
Like Vader was not the best best at his job apparently.
The one part I had to rewatch a bunch was the very ending, because I knew that was Jude Law, but I was like, it threw me for a loop because the reveal was very.
Yeah.
It was very. I'm like, wait a minute, is this supposed to be someone we know? It sort of looked like Tamora Morrison for a second, so I was like, wait a second, is this? I was confused. Right. But after a couple rewatches, and then I watched.
Did you start watching it on your phone screen? Because I did that, and I was like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. And then I watched it on a big screen. I'm like, oh, it's Jude Law. Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And it dropped first on Instagram, and Lord knows I can't wait 1 minute to watch it on YouTube.
Yep.
So I'm watching it vertical, and anyway. But I knew it was Jude Law. They brought him out on stage. they brought a bunch of people out on stage, but for this project, they brought out Jude Law, and he talked a little bit about it.
Yeah, that's so in general, a decent new option in the Star Wars verse. Always good to have something new. Similarly, moving on to Marvel, they dropped their trailer. I believe it also was D23, the final trailer for Agatha All Along, which is going to debut this fall.
Yeah.
I got to look at it. It was definitely much more in depth and much more of a let us know what the hell was going on with this show compared to everything else we'd seen, including other teasers we'd seen. Apparently, Agatha Harkness came out of whatever spell the Scarlet Witch put her under and is effectively trying to go down the quote-unquote witch's road for some reason. So
yeah, so it's interesting. In the hall, they had a whole huge Agatha performance with witches and this big production number, and then today they had a Agatha bus where the bus was driving around like the convention center circle and like heckling fans and but I agree, it's is there a deep history with Agatha in the Marvel universe?
Like in the comics? I was never amazingly familiar with her. I know she's at various points been like mentor to Scarlet Witch, and is a powerful witch within the Marvel 616ness. But
sure.
I think there's a tie into like Fantastic Four with Franklin Richards or something too. But
Okay.
I don't really know much about her outside of what we saw. So
right, and the reason I asked that is it seems like the character got very popular during the original WandaVision run,
or at least perceived as popular by Disney.
Right. Was it I Killed Sparky? She killed the dog,
yep.
and she had the song that was in A minor, and
yep.
all good Halloween songs are in A minor. I'm probably gonna get the key wrong, and Mike's gonna yell at me for that, but you know what I mean.
That'll be the test if he listens to this week's episode. If he yells at you if you get a random text in a couple of days.
It's very funny when I text you two on a Monday or Tuesday, and I'm like, "Oh, did you hear this? You such and such is coming back to Daredevil," and you're like, "You clearly didn't listen to the pod of this week," and I'm like, "No, I haven't gotten a chance to," But I'm trepidatious sometimes about texting you guys things because I'm like, I hope they didn't mention this on the pod of this week. It looks interesting. It's definitely geared towards a fall Halloween release for a reason.
Oh yeah, it's leaning into spooky season.
Yeah, I think it. I think it will be great. Do you want to talk about stuff? There was a lot of trailers, Marvel trailers, and footage, and Star Wars for that matter too, that was not public, that was shown in the hall. Do you want to talk about that? Do we want to steer away from that?
I don't even know what. I know there was. So Star Wars wise, if I remember right, the only other real trailers or video that got shown in the hall was some clips for Andor season 2, right?
Yep, which confirmed Forrest Whitaker and Ben Mendelsohn.
Okay, so that's some big happenings there.
Yeah. I mean, one of them is an Oscar winner, and the other is an incredible villain.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that was released, the first Mando and Grogu trailer, which there was some pretty spoilerific stuff in there. So I don't know if yeah,
we can lean away from anything that's spoilery,
sure.
unless Yeah, especially for the stuff that wasn't public.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm sure they'll be dropping something soon on those. But
Yeah.
I still I still can't comprehend that that's a movie. And that it's as far along in production as it is.
Yeah, well, it's only about a month or two along in production, maybe a little longer.
Yeah.
But the point that they made was because it's a biannual event. This is the last D23 before that movie comes out.
Okay. So they wanted to put something on paper for it,
they
basically.
wanted to put something on. Yeah. Favreau and Filoni took the stage, and they basically said, we want Star Wars to return to the big screen, and it's going to. Not just that, but the Rey film, there's they talked about all three. What they didn't talk about was they didn't talk about the Takiti Wadi or Patty Jenkins.
Oh, I want Rogue Squadron.
I know you do. I know you do. Now they are. I do feel like they have been holding some things back.
Yep.
Because they're doing another D23 in South America next month.
That seems odd.
In Brazil, and I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be geared towards that audience.
Okay.
In that, I think it's very possible that Epcot gets a Brazil pavilion in World Showcase.
Okay. Yeah, because they've been talking about like what or where to expand that for a while now, haven't they?
Exactly. There's been several plans to do things. There's been a Russian Square. There's been Israel
plan. One aged poorly.
Yeah, exactly. There's been an Israel plan.
Also aged poorly.
Yeah.
0 for 2.
Exactly. Yeah. Australia, which I think they could easily do Australia and Animal Kingdom at some point.
After that breaking final, that might have aged poorly too.
Yeah. 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 So it's been a swing and a miss. I should say I just got back from Disney World last week, and I visited every pavilion and drank a lot, and it was great. I absolutely loved it. Anyway,
nice.
But yeah, so I think that they are saving some stuff for that audience.
Right. Yeah, and we'll get more into parks later too, because there's a bunch of stuff they announced for parks, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and I mean blockbuster announcements.
Nice.
Was there an Ironheart trailer, or was
that was? I think that was behind the scenes as well. I think that was a
Okay.
D23 specific, and there was footage from Born Again, like Daredevil Born Again.
Yep.
That I think
And
publicly what happened was for anyone who's interested, which should be most of you if it's anything like the Netflix series. That was confirmed for March of 25.
March of 25. I think they said yes, March of 25. And they confirmed
Punisher. I know Punisher.
Punisher and White Tiger.
Okay, and John Bernthal's back as Punisher, who played him in the Netflix series. So
yeah, which is great. And I think Ironheart.
Have you seen those? Have you seen the Netflix ones?
I have. I got a little confused around season 3.
That'll do it.
With what is it? The Black Hand.
Yeah, there was a whole him losing the suit again, and the whole it was a thing.
Yeah, but it was I think I would describe Daredevil as the most realistic superhero.
Yeah, it's a very
franchise.
Grounded,
there's no. I thought it was great.
Right, it's not your swords and sorcery. It's city level. He's out. It's like Batman, Spider-Man, him. Like we're just out there fighting normal criminals. And
there's an episode where he rests for a day.
Yeah.
I mean it's
right.
great.
Yeah, it's just exposition and him chilling, and it's all Foggy and Karen, and
yeah, and all those guys took the stage too.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox,
Yep.
uh,
Deborah Ann
Fulton
Wool.
from Mighty Ducks.
Holy
God,
shit! How did I never put that together?
yeah. Oh, you never realized that?
No, Eldon Haynes, is that his name? Something like that.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow.
One of the Bash brothers.
Huh. My brain just got exploded.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Um.
Speaking of things that exploded my brain, Ironheart
Yeah.
actually getting a trailer. I think that might have been the biggest surprise for Marvel. Like we
Yes.
knew it had finished filming and whatnot, but I think everybody almost expected it to go the Batgirl route and like get not released or written off or something, but doesn't seem like Disney wants to do that with any of these because
Right.
I'm not going to complain because I was very
Right.
interested in what this show was going to be, but to see it actually back and on the radar is huge.
Yeah. It maybe filmed a year ago, didn't it? I
Yeah,
mean, it's been some time.
yeah, it's been a bit.
Um. Um. Yeah. So there was a bunch of cool Marvel stuff. The other Star Wars stuff was Andor season 2, which we talked about. Diego Luna took the stage. They showed some cool stuff. Lot of I'll mention this real quickly. There's a Nat Geo series
Okay,
with David Blaine.
that
Um,
seems like a weird combo.
and yeah, and he hid cards under everyone's seat and did like some crazy magic trick in the hall, which is just crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the um,
Yeah, the
Marvel and
Marvel
Star
and
Wars
Star
stuff.
Wars.
Yeah, there was a lot of Disney news, a lot of trailers, a lot of I think the biggest response was Incredibles 3.
Right.
People, I mean, they went nuts for that.
I mean, the
Uh,
first two were two of the best superhero movies that were ever made.
yeah.
They were
Um,
easily the best Fantastic Four movies ever made.
yeah, um, um, couple other, I won't mention all of them, obviously, but a couple others. Toy Story 5 with an incredible poster. And you're probably thinking, what else can they do with Toy Story at this point? They had a picture of all the toys looking at a child in bed with an iPad. And I go, that's brilliant. That's the toys fighting electronics. I mean,
Yeah.
that writes itself. Um, Frozen 3 is in development. Zootopia 2 is coming out. Uh, a live action film I'm very excited for is live action Lilo and Stitch because they showed the Stitch um,
Oh yeah.
character and it was awesome. It
Okay.
was it was really good. And it's great because those live action remakes have either been hit or miss,
Yeah.
more on the miss side than the hits. I like
I
a couple of them a lot,
I
but
was gonna say I
they're
feel like those got I think they got an unfair shake because I don't think any of I didn't see Mulan. I heard that was actively horrible. Um
yeah, it wasn't great.
but like The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin and all those I saw and I was like, yeah, these are fine.
Yeah,
Did they need to get
I
made? No. But
no, but it's look, when you make Aladdin and you take possibly the greatest not possibly the greatest acted voice the greatest acted animated character of all time in the genie.
yep.
I mean, bar none. There's no I mean, Robin Williams as the genie set the standard for you got to do something different, and it was creative, and it was the costuming,
Yeah.
it was cool.
Oh yeah.
um there was a trailer for Snow White, which has had mixed reviews. I think the
Is that another
actress
live
who's
action?
yeah, that comes out
Hmm.
in March, I think, as well. That'll be interesting because um the actress, I can't think of her name at the moment, has sort of trashed the movie a little bit.
Oh, that's
Um,
always good.
yeah, So it'll be interesting. Inside Out spinoff series, which if it's anything like, I mean, if it does anything like the second film, that's a gold mine. But yeah,
Is it Rachel Ziegler?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And the other one is Geo.
No, Gal Gadot.
Gal
Wonder
Gadot.
Woman.
I
Wonder
knew
Woman
it was
herself.
Gigi. Yeah. Right, of course. So it'll be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, again, did it need to be made? Probably not, but here we are.
Avatar got a new
Is that the
name
next
for
one?
either the next one, Fire and Ash.
It's better
So
than
they're definitely
Fire
going
and Ash?
with, yeah, exactly. They're definitely going with a, water, fire,
Yeah.
an element. Yeah. But it'll probably do gangbusters. But if a movie costs $1 billion to make, what is it?
I'm still pissed off about that last one.
Really?
Like it was the most. Yes, it was pretty,
Mhm.
but it was literally the most predictable plot and the
It was
most
very
rote.
predictable.
Like every time something happened, I had, and I'm not one that's good at doing that sort of thing, but
Sure.
you were able to like see things coming like an hour before they happened. You're like, oh well,
Yeah.
he's gonna be a bad guy. Oh, he's gonna sell him out. Oh darn. Oh, they're not gonna welcome him. Oh, they've got to earn their trust. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, use every freaking trope.
Yeah, I think the Avatar films, the story is not on par with the incredible technology
Oh yeah,
that White Storm, has. I don't know if created is the right word. Created, pioneered.
yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah. Did you ever watch the Percy Jackson series?
No.
No, they announced the season 2 of that. Oh, and your personal favorite, Steve, Freaky Friday 2, Freakier Friday.
That's what they really titled it.
It's just called Freakier Friday, yeah.
Does it have Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan in it?
It does. And they both took the stage.
Wow. I'm slightly losing faith in humanity.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever. I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum.
Yeah.
But yeah, so is it all sequels? Like is there anything original coming out?
Yeah, there's a Pixar film called Hoppers with John Hamm and Bob Moynihan. Another new Pixar film called ELO. There is a Monster Jam movie like that. Yeah.
Like that
is
like that Mike and I took our kids to this spring?
Exactly.
Okay.
And it is being spearheaded and run by Dwayne Johnson.
God damn it.
Yeah. So that will be interesting.
That's one word for it.
And that was the other one, Moana 2, which I think will do gangbusters because the first one did amazing, and I think Moana has just gained stream.
Yeah.
So I think it will be great.
Yep.
But Monster Jam with Dwayne Johnson, so that will be.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of other movies I'm not actually looking forward to, Tron Ares.
Yes, Tron Ares came out. Now, the interesting thing about Tron Ares is the last film was the soundtrack really stood out, and soundtrack was done by Daft Punk.
Mm-hmm.
This one, they made a big...
Right, because the original two were like that was back in the day, was like, oh my God, they did this thing, and then they did the sequel. They got them back for the sequel.
The new one, they made a big deal out of it, is the soundtrack is by Nine Inch Nails.
Okay, now I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like not just like Reznor and Ross, but like the actual...
No. Yeah, so they showed the Tron Ares logo. and then the NIN logo right under it.
So I'm back in like 1994 in
Yeah,
fourth grade with my Downward Spiral
exactly. Yeah.
T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jeff Bridges came out and talked about it a bit. But yeah, I'll probably go see it. If anything, that ride, the attraction in Tomorrowland, I mean, is so good. It got me to be interested in Tron.
Yeah, I mean, it
so
was
we'll see.
well, much like the Avatar ride. It was awesome, and it almost made
Yeah.
me care about things.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Exactly.
after I was at Flight of Passage, I think I texted that to you of it almost made me care
Yeah.
about Avatar.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's weird because the Avatar land, Pandora in
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom, is
It's amazing.
absolutely gorgeous. And not to jump ahead of ourselves here, but they're building a land in Disneyland that is another Avatar land,
Okay.
but completely different. It's based on the second and third films.
So do they have anything currently at Disneyland like Avatar at Animal Kingdom?
No,
Okay.
they have nothing like it. So this is going in California Adventure, which is right across the street. But it is they're doing scenes and lakes and ponds and stuff like that. So it's a completely different Avatar. It's not a clone
Right.
of which I think is kind of cool. You
Yeah.
know, it's there's a boat ride that Pirates of the Caribbean in Shanghai Disneyland, which is very popular.
Yep.
It's similar to the Ratatouille or Runaway Railway.
Okay.
It's that trackless,
Mhm.
and this is like a trackless boat ride with water effects and everything. And that is one of the attractions coming to their Avatar land there.
So the opposite of the Navi River ride.
Yes. Now, I know Mike doesn't like the Navi River ride. I rode it 3 times when I was there. I just think it's so relaxing.
It definitely I think that might be the thing is if you're going into it looking to just chill, it's probably awesome. If you're looking for like
Yeah.
I just came off a Flight of Passage, I'm ready to rip. It's probably not as good.
Exactly. Well, what's very funny was that attraction has I don't know if it's Jake Sully or who it is. I don't know the films that well, but it's one of the most advanced audio animatronics in the world.
Yeah, right at the end there, right?
Right at the end there. So I went on it on Tuesday, and a screen was up, and it was a projected screen. The animatronic wasn't there. I went on it again Wednesday, and the animatronic was there. So it's like I'm glad I came back. But something that big, has to go down for maintenance and different things.
Right. So they just drop a sheet over it and use that as a screen.
Yeah, a screen, and it's a good screen, but it's
right.
You want to see this animatronic. Yeah. It's
no, and that's yeah. So they did a very good job with whatever they call Avatar Land there.
Pandora, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But for I think Mike and I talked about it at one point. Like when you compare it to Batuu, I don't know why, but Batuu to me feels like Pandora looks awesome, but Batuu feels much more immersive. And I think
Batuu feels lived in too.
Right.
And that's one of the terms they use. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but that's one of the terms they use for a land that they're building. They're like, this is going to feel lived in.
Okay.
This is going to feel centuries old. That's a land that they're building Animal Kingdom, which we'll get to. But
yeah, and that's the thing is like, well, part of it may also be where in Pandora, like when you think of the 2 ecosystems they're from, and by that I mean franchises like Batuu, there's supposed to be a ton of people around and it's supposed to be a busy spaceport and whatever. Like Twin Spires Outpost is supposed to be like active and there's a ton of people there and things are milling around or whatever. Whereas Pandora, you're supposed to be in this lush tropical forest, and you see all these people just wandering around concrete jungle.
Where humans haven't
Right.
inhabited. Whereas you go into August Cantina and there's broken wires and there's stuff going
Right.
on.
Rex
and
is spinning his tunes, and
yeah, exactly. Which, by the way, you can buy a mini
I
Rex
saw
now.
that. That was awesome.
Yeah. Pretty cool. You can also buy one of the Star Speeders from Star Tours and
Oh,
play
really?
the actual films in the Star Speeder. Yeah,
That's
which
pretty
is pretty
awesome.
cool. They really think of a lot of stuff. So
Absolutely. So is
yeah,
that are we at getting into the parks at this point? You want to
I think so.
well,
Yeah,
here, let's you know what we'll do is, if anyone couldn't care less about the parks, feel free to take off. We got a boatload of info on the stuff that's been released. Right from here out, we're probably going to talk almost exclusively about the additions that were announced at D23 to the Walt Disney World parks, or Disney World, Disneyland. I believe they did some stuff on the cruise lines. There was a whole bunch of
yeah.
stuff that dropped. But if you are taking off at this point, please feel free to like and subscribe to any of the podcasts. We thank Matt every time he comes on the show. We will be back next week with our regularly scheduled programming. Actually, with a little bonus action from Mike and I, will be up at AnchorCon in Clayton, New York, doing a panel up there, as well as hawking our wares and whatnot. Mike also, you've probably heard him talk about Trek Wars. That occurred last night. He had a great time selling books and hanging out with the local Star Wars and Star Trek burlesque show that was going on. Thanks to anybody who attended that. He was there with our sponsors, Funky Town Comics and Vinyl. Other than that, please feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a review for us. Whoever left the Neapolitan cookies recipe, we are working on a way to eat those on air. So thank you for that, and please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, as well as liking, subscribing on YouTube, and leaving a comment. With that, we are going to at this point shift into telling you about our Patreon, because I forgot to. Patreon.com/the Multiverse Report. Check that out. And now we're going to shift into the discussion on the parks. So, Matt, as literally our resident person who has worked, lived, done whatever the hell you could in the parks and been there more than anyone I've actually, I don't know. Well, because you work there, you definitely win. One of my friends goes down 3 times a year, so.
Is that Tim? Is that Tim Irwin?
No, a friend I knew from college. She goes down,
Okay.
like her and her friend go down literally 3 times a year.
Nice.
So
Nice. It's funny. I was there 2 weeks ago, and my mom brought up taking the whole family down in February. I'm like, yeah, drag my leg.
yeah. Oh shucks.
Drag me down. Yeah.
Got to go again.
Yeah, exactly. So Disney parks, resorts, and experiences took a lot of flack in the last number of years because they released what they called blue sky ideas.
Yep.
We're not sure if this is going to happen. It might happen. What do you think? We're talking about it. They started off first of all, and I cried like a little boy because it's the thing that made me fall in love with Disney World. They started off with John Stamos.
John Stamos made you cry?
Yes, and here's why. He played "A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes" on a grand piano, with Uncle Joey and Snow White introducing him to open the D23 Parks panel. So that was pretty cool. That brought back the Full House episode that I would watch endlessly on a loop on VHS tape. If you don't know what VHS tape is, then I feel really old.
It's vintage now, Matt.
Yes, at least it wasn't a Betamax. So they started out by saying there's going to be no blue sky. Everything we're announcing today is already in development. Dirt has already been moved. Plans are already drawn up, and it's full speed ahead. one of the first things they announce is a new nighttime parade for Magic Kingdom, which may not seem like a lot, but if you grew up going in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, you grew up with the Main Street Electrical Parade, and you grew up with Spectro Magic, and those were a part of the day at the Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And to have a new nighttime parade is a big deal.
Do they
Now
not?
for the big
Do they
stuff.
not currently have one?
They haven't had one since 2011.
Oh wow. Wait,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
because I like Main Street Electrical Parade was, I distinctly remember that, the like when I went as a kid.
Yeah.
It's like one of those. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like one of those memories that sticks with you.
Yep, exactly. So that would be pretty great. On to the big stuff. So this first section is all Disney World. There is going to be a Monsters Inc. land built in Hollywood Studios, including the for Disney, the first ever suspended roller coaster that takes you through the doors in the scene in Monsters Inc. where all the doors are flying and you go indoors and you go outdoors.
Oh wow.
And into the Himalayas, into San Francisco, into
Yep.
wherever. And they released the model of it, and it looks so cool. But Billy Crystal came out to introduce that, and I just think it looks really cool. There's a lot of speculation on where that will be built. My guess is the old Star Wars launch bay, which is not Galaxy's Edge.
No, that's where the meet and greet for Vader and Chewie is, right?
Yeah. That used to be the animation building, so there is a lot of room back there.
Yeah, the thing, like, you look at it on the map and it's just this giant ass building that there's nothing going on in.
Yep, there's nothing going on there. As I said, it used to be the animation building, which they animated Lilo and Stitch, Mulan, Brother Bear, all there. It was a big thing. It was a big part. You could go watch people animate films. You could animate yourself. It was part of the whole backlot experience. That closed in 2004, I think. But yeah. So Monsters Inc. land. Probably called Monstropolis, but you can go to the Laugh Floor. There's going to be a Laugh Floor comedy club.
Nice. So they're going to probably move the Laugh Floor over there, and
they didn't say that. That's my guess. I think so, because that would fit so well there.
Yeah.
And it's not like it is a roller coaster that they have to move.
Yeah.
They've moved attractions before. Carousel of Progress came from Disneyland to Disney World. Magic Journeys went from Epcot to the Magic Kingdom.
Muppet Vision is still where it sits.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Muppet Vision, because there was a lot of concern that it would be taking over the Muppet Vision area, but I don't see that happening. I don't think there's enough room there. Tom Corliss, who runs the WWNT website and blog and podcast, was saying at 2:00 this morning, because I was up listening to him at 2:00 this morning, that he doubts highly that that would be the case. It takes over Muppets, because it's I just think the Muppets still work in 2024.
We were down there last year, and my 6-year-old, who'd never seen anything, he'd seen Muppet Babies, so he was at least familiar with the characters, but like, he was laughing his butt off the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, it still holds up.
I
was laughing my butt off the entire time.
Yeah. It's also, believe it or not, the last thing Henson directed.
Oh, really?
He passed. Yeah. It was 1990-ish, and he passed a month or two later.
Wow,
but
that's
it holds up.
It
It's
really
great.
does hold up if it was from 1990. Damn.
Yeah, exactly. It really holds up. So that's with Hollywood Studios. Moving over to Animal Kingdom. I'll do Epcot real quickly. There's a Spaceship Earth lounge where you can sit parallel to Spaceship Earth and watch the fireworks. Not a big Epcot announcement, but I thought I'd throw that in there before we move on to Animal Kingdom.
Well, no, there was one more thing for
and Hollywood Studios. I just
yeah.
realized that. Yep. Dave Filoni came back out on stage and said that he and Jon Favreau recently rode Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and they want to do a Mandalorian and Grogu storyline with the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. So usually when they do things like that, the ride system is the same, but what you're seeing and the movements and the story and the characters are different. Similar to Star Tours, where you never know what you're going to get unless you're Mike Gibson, who gets the same thing every time.
Right.
So that's certainly intriguing.
Well, I'm seeing but like, what the hell do they have to do with the Falcon?
I agree, but here's to me where it gets interesting. Since Galaxy's Edge opened 5 years ago, Disney has been hard that Galaxy's Edge takes place between Episode 8 and Episode 9.
Yep.
If they go through with this for Smuggler's Run, it will be an opening to open Galaxy's Edge into other time periods.
Yeah.
So you can get a ride based on speeders in the Endor Moon. You can get something at Hoth, something at Tatooine. It's not. They're not. I don't want to use the word pigeonholed, but they're not limited to what they can do in that time period, because there's a lot of land. And the other thing, Steve, another reason why I don't think they'll demolish Muppet Vision 3D is because that could be future Galaxy's Edge expansion there,
right?
Because it's right outside Galaxy's Edge and
right in between Galaxy's Edge and Star Tours.
Exactly, and that just makes so much sense to do that. But yeah, so I agree with you with Mando and Grogu. But who knows what we'll see in the film, in Skeleton Crew, and whatnot that might make this possible.
Well, that, like, my brain was like, all right, well, retrofit one of the cockpits to look like the Razor Crest, and then then you have like randomness in the line of like, all right, we going in the Falcon, or are we going in the Razor Crest? Right.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It was an interesting concept that I was like, okay, something new for Galaxy's Edge, but also I'm thinking about it. I'm like, logistically, how will this work?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. So we covered Hollywood Studios and Epcot, big Animal Kingdom news, and gigantic Magic Kingdom news. In Animal Kingdom, this was rumored. This was a blue sky idea. They confirmed it, and construction starts this fall in a new Central America's land at Animal Kingdom. That is now
taking out Dino?
Dino Land, yeah. Which, besides the dinosaur attraction, there is nothing there. And I read a bunch of complaints.
I had a 6-year-old, and there was still nothing there. Prime dinosaur time. Nothing.
Some of the comments I read, well, my kids like to run around and get their energy out. Well, there's plenty of places to do that.
What's the rest of the park for?
Exactly. And they have a cheesy the Dino-Rama thing, but what they're going to build in this Central America, tropical Americas, is a brand new Indiana Jones attraction.
Okay.
Based off the ride system that's used in both Temple of the Forbidden Eye in Disneyland and Crystal Skull in Tokyo. Now, that's not the same as the Crystal Skull, the film, the Crystal Skull attraction actually came out in 2002,
Okay.
and the film came out in 2008. So it's separate. I do expect there to be some sort of mythical beast
All right.
in this attraction, to tie it into Animal Kingdom. Snakes as well,
Why's it gotta
different
be
things.
snakes?
But yeah, well, why is got it? So speaking of which, Ke Huy Quan introduced this part of
Oh yeah.
the presentation. It was funny. He was the conductor, and he was conducting Williams' score.
Yep.
And then he turned around, and it was Ke Huy Quan. So that was kind of fun. The other thing they're
So
doing
wait,
in this land.
are they like is that ride system the same as Dinosaur? Because that's the only real ride in there.
Yes, it's the same ride system.
Okay.
But they can reformat it and
Right.
rewrite it however they want.
Well, I just didn't know if they'd have to like tear down that building or if it was just going to be a
Right.
retrofit type thing.
A retrofit, but all new animatronics,
Yep.
whole new story. And our friends the Nolans went to Disneyland this past spring, and they said by far Indiana Jones was one of their favorite things
The stunt
in
show.
the park.
Okay.
It's been 20 years and it still holds up.
Oh,
30 years and it still holds up. It is absolutely fantastic. It's one of the most immersive attractions I've ever been on.
There's something about feeling that fire from that far
Yeah.
away, and you're just like, I don't know why this is great, but this is still great
Yeah.
every time I see it.
Yeah. Yep. So it's great. The attraction is great. It's very immersive. And it'll be great in Animal Kingdom, I think. The other thing is there's going to be a large Central America Encanto village.
Okay.
That's going to feel lived in. It's going to have the house from Encanto, which will be an attraction.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've seen Encanto, but
Yep.
so there's that whole celebration, and he gets to talk to animals. That's going to be the whole premise, is going through this house, talking to animals.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the Animal Kingdom tie-in. And
will you be able to talk
there's
about
also-
Bruno there though?
Yes, they said Bruno will make appearances there.
Nice.
They also announced a pretty cool idea, something that they've already built, and they had seats on it available at D23, was in a carousel, a wooden carved carousel where every horse is different,
Okay.
and it's carved into animal Disney characters. So the one on display was the one from Up. Kevin? It was Kevin the bird from Up.
Don't know. I only remember the dog.
Right.
I don't remember
You
Up
are my
all that
friend.
well.
Oh yeah. You are my friend. Squirrel. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that is big news. That is, and what they're doing is they want to give people one last chance to ride Dinosaur. So they're roping off part of it, working on some of it, and then they'll finish the rest of it when part of it is done. And that is set to open late 2026, which is actually, as far as theme park production goes, is pretty quick. So yeah, New Central America's Land. I think it's great. I've never been a big fan of Dino Land. I do like the Finding Nemo show, but they can fit that outside Dino Land. And I like Dinosaur, but once you've been on Indiana Jones and you go to Dinosaur, there's no going back. Indiana Jones is just spectacular. The other thing they announced for Animal Kingdom is a replacement for Tough to Be a Bug. and that is a Zootopia 3D attraction.
Okay.
Which makes sense. Zootopia, Animal Kingdom. I always thought that um, Tough to Be a Bug was kind of a ballsy attraction. I mean, I've seen plenty of kids leave that theater scared
Oh yeah.
or freaked out by the bugs, my family included. So that'll be interesting, and that actually opens this winter. So that's a quick turnaround. So yeah, that is it for Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
Magic Kingdom, some massive news. 2 new lands. The first is a Cars land with 2 new Cars attractions.
Okay.
And this is going to be different than Radiator Springs in California Adventure.
Okay.
They talked about off-roading and getting stuck in mud and trying to work your way out. So it's going to be creative, and it's not just going to be a copy of what's in Disneyland. So a new Cars land, and the announcement that got a standing ovation for over a minute was the new Villains land.
Okay. And that had been rumored for a while now, right?
I mean, that's been rumored for 30 years. There was talk of building a Fire Mountain back in the 90s. And it looks like we might get that attraction. They didn't say what attractions are coming to the Villains land, but they showed concept art, and it looked absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I think, to tell any heroic story, you need good villains. And I think a Villains land will be great for that.
Yeah.
And if parents don't want to take their kids to that park, they don't have to take them to that park. Now, what is this taking the place of? It looks like the Liberty Bell Riverboat, the Rivers of America, and Tom Sawyer Island are all going.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what the rumor is, and really, that makes the most sense. But I mean, that's a huge project.
Yeah, and those 3. I mean, at this point, like, I don't know. I can't imagine they're all that busy or how any of them hold up or any of that. So I guess it makes sense.
And Tom Sawyer Island, you can't run the boats when there's lightning, so people are stuck on the island, and it's just I know there's a nostalgia feel there, and I get that, but there's just so much land, that they can build and create new adventures for. Walt said Disneyland will never be complete. Everything has to change, and everything is going to be redone and reimagined, and this is a part of that. And the original Rivers of America and Mark Twain Riverboat are staying put in Disneyland, so it differentiates a little bit more between Disneyland and Disney World. Now, speaking of Disneyland, we got some major news for Marvel fans out in Disneyland.
Oh, yeah.
So there are 2 new attractions coming to Avengers Campus, both starring Robert Downey Jr. One of them is Avengers Infinity Defense Attraction.
Sure.
And the other is Stark Flight Lab. That looks insane. That's where you go and you test new Stark technology.
Oh, that does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, and they revealed that Robert Downey Jr. and Bob Iger have already ridden it in the test shop, and that he's starring in the attraction. I think I misspoke a moment ago when I said he's in both. I know he's in at least the second one. I assume he'll be in the first one as well, but who knows?
Yeah, you might as if you're already paying the bill for him, you might as well like make
Yeah.
him do it.
Exactly. So they are doubling the size of Avengers Campus, which already has Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout and Spider-Man Web Slingers.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. The other one, Avengers Infinity Defense Attraction. My guess from the art is it's a little bit like Star Tours. You are facing King Thanos, and you go to Wakanda, you go to New York City, you go to different places. You go to where are the Guardians from? Nowhere.
Yeah.
You go to Asgard. They said all these places you're going to get to visit with this attraction. So that'll be definitely interesting as well.
Yeah. No, and it's got some promise.
Yeah. We mentioned the new Avatar land for California Adventure, based on the second and third films.
Yep.
A new Coco attraction for Disney's California Adventure, and one new attraction that I'm kind of excited about. And they had Roy Patrick Disney, which is Walt's nephew, in the audience to show support from the Disney family for this project. But a new Walt Disney attraction with a Walt animatronic, which I think is really cool because he helped pioneer audio animatronics, and now we're going to have a Walt animatronic telling the story of Disney, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's you know, there was some stuff announced for Shanghai and Paris. Paris is getting a whole new Lion King land.
Oh.
Yeah, with a flume ride that you go down. Oh, what's it called? I've been thinking about it all day. Not Skull Rock.
Pride Rock?
Damn it. Pride Rock. Thank you. You go down Pride Rock and you see all these animatronics and another Lion King attraction there as well. So that'll be fun. And a couple new Avengers attractions for Shanghai Disneyland.
Yeah.
But besides that, and so you're not a cruise guy, are you, Steve?
Not at all.
You're what they like to call on land. I'm like what they call indoorsy. No, little Jim Gaffigan there. They previously announced 3 new ships for the Disney Cruise Line. One comes out this December. The other 2 come out in the next 2 years. They just announced an additional 4 ships to come out between
insane.
2027 and 2031. So obviously the cruise line business is doing gangbusters if they're going to build these billion-dollar ships.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I was not, or I am not a cruise guy, but apparently somebody is, because holy shit.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I went on my first Disney cruise in November of last year, and it blew me away. Some of the best cast members I've ever encountered, some of the best shows, the uniqueness of it. It was great. I can't wait to go again, to be honest with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's pretty much, there was some Fortnite things, new skins, and Disney's developing this whole Fortnite package. They didn't really go into much detail on it, but it sounds like they have like a $800 million contract with Epic Games, so they're doing something with Epic Games. But for now, it's just skins and different stories you can do with Fortnite. But but that's really about it. About it. We've been talking
Yeah,
for
that's
an
it.
hour.
Nothing major.
Yeah. So yeah.
No, yeah, it's funny because coming out of SDCC, there wasn't a ton of things coming out. Marvel DC, like yeah, Marvel had their Hall H panel and they dropped the Downey Jr. bomb, which I still don't like, but whatever.
Sure. You're still not. Do you think so? Do you think it's they just got him to get him as an actor, or
So
they got him because there's intrigue there what they'll do with the multiverse?
so my thing is, it's it's very much in the air of if they're doing it and they have a plan, it'll be great. If they're doing it for shock value and to try and get some more butts in the seats, then I think they're jumping the shark. So
Sure.
if they're doing it for the right reasons, then awesome. It'll probably be real cool and it'll work out. But if not, and at this point, Marvel hasn't done enough to make me have a good faith guarantee that that's a thing. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yep. I don't know if you saw, but the original plot and story for Kang Dynasty came out this week. It leaked out, and I have a synopsis here if you want me to read it,
And this is the
unless you don't want
previously
me to read
canceled Kang Dynasty.
the previously canceled Kang Dynasty.
Go for
So
it.
this is what is not happening. In this film, the TVA began gathering anchor beings from across the multiverse, believing they are the only ones powerful enough to defeat the Council of Kangs. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were the anchors for their respective realities, while Tom Holland's Spider-Man served as the anchor for Earth 616. The movie was intended to be smaller scope compared to Secret Wars, focusing more on Holland's Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and anchors like Nick Cage's Ghost Rider. The plan was for all of them to ultimately fail, leading to the collapse of the multiverse and Kang's creation of Battleworld. This would have set the stage for Secret Wars, where other MCU characters and additional multiverse figures would converge on Battleworld.
Okay. That seems like it seems like they could very relatively easily turn that into the plot of Doomsday.
Sure.
So
I agree.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's always up in the air.
It'll be interesting. And I think it's exciting that Fantastic Four will be part of Fantastic Four will be part of Doomsday and Secret Wars. I think eventually, if Fantastic Four is successful, which I think it will be, I mean, because every Marvel fan wants it, the one part of Disneyland and Walt Disney World that they didn't touch on was Tomorrowland. And I feel like what they could do is make Tomorrowland that 60s futuristic view,
right?
That 60s Fantastic Four technology super center of tomorrow, which would be very interesting. You know, the flying cars, the Jetsons almost.
Oh yeah, but lean into the camp of what it was quote unquote supposed to be.
Right. Yeah. By the way, do you know what Disneyland's Tomorrowland was originally based on?
Oh, I'd assume something stupid like, 2010 or something.
1986.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So that was what it was supposed to be like when I was 2?
Yeah, exactly.
That didn't work.
So in the late 70s, they're like, yeah, we need to fix this up.
Yeah.
And then they did again, but it's Tomorrowland always needs changing. Um, that's the one thing with Tomorrowland. It's you got to keep. That's one of the reasons I think they did away with Future World at Epcot, is because to keep pushing forward, and
Right. The goalposts keep moving.
we're going. Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Yeah. No, it'll be good to see some needed facelifts for places and also some needed expansions for places. So either way,
Definitely.
a lot came out of D23 this week, and I do again want to thank Matt for popping on the pod in a relatively last minute switch. Thankfully, he was available, and we were perfectly in his wheelhouse as far as things to talk about. So
Absolutely.
I had thought about reaching out to you for to do a recap pod later in the week, and then Mike was like, "Oh, I can't do tonight." And I was like, "Hey, Matt, can you help?" And here we are. So
Love it.
Worked out great.
Anytime, pal. I love talking about this. I always love guesting on here. You guys are very good to me, and it was a blast.
Sounds good. And again, if anyone's still listening to this, feel free to check Mike and I out. Mike selling his comics, and me hawking the pod up at AnchorCon up in Clayton, New York. Again, we'll be hosting a couple of panels up there, and in general around the convention. Beautiful area up there. Beautiful. You can't beat the St. Lawrence Seaway in the summer. So check us out up there. I'm sure there's plenty of things that we should be announcing that I've already forgotten. And I guess with that, as the twin suns set over the charred corpses of Owen and Brew Lars, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the multiverse.